Ember app contains it all, your templates big and sometimes small. Learn routers, routes, components to let Ember models work for you. Controllers to help decorate the views which you can integrate. Mix them together in December, warming up with Ember.
You're watching Warming Up with Ember.js, and this is level 2, where we're going to be talking a little more about handlebars and some basics of Ember controllers. Back in level 1, we learned all about the router, which is in charge of mapping a path to an Ember route. But how do we create links to these routes? Can we just hard-code links, like you see here? Well, it turns out this is a bad practice. You never want to hard-code your links. Instead, we use the routes to dynamically retrieve the URLs when we create links in our Ember application. Let me show you what that looks like. To do this, we use a handlebars link to helper and send in the route name we want to link to. To do this, we use the Ember link to helper inside of our template. It allows us to use the route name to look up the path. So here you can see we call link to, send in the route name. It could be index, could be about. We then have some text, which is the actual link text. And then we have to close our link to. Each of these will determine the path based on the route name we send in, and here's what the resulting HTML will look like. But what if we want to add a custom class to our link? Well, that's pretty simple. All we have to do in our link helper is specify class equals navbar brand, and the rendered HTML will simply add that class. Back in our browser, we can click the About link, which will bring us to the About route, and the Home link, which will bring us to the Index route. If you take a look inside our DevTools inspector, you'll notice that our logo has an active class, and our home link also has an active class. About doesn't. But look what happens when we click on About. Now, About has the active class, so it's moved from the home link to the About link. Ember has this nice intelligent default where if you have a link to helper, which is the same route as the one you're currently visiting, it will give you an active class on that link. And as you might imagine, you can style that appropriately in your CSS. Next, it turns out, since we're using Twitter Bootstrap, we need our links to have an li element and not an a element. So how might we switch those tags? Well, the link to helper has a tag name option. So if we specify tag name equals li for both of our links, sure enough, it's going to render out two LIs. Now you might notice the href has disappeared, but it's still going to work in the browser. That's because Ember's smart enough to hook onto those li elements and make it so that the proper pages are called up when we click those list items. So now if we jump back into the browser, you can see that both of our links are now list items. And if we click on About, it properly goes to that page and also sets the active class. Now, if you're following along using Twitter Bootstrap, you obviously don't have our styles or our images. If you want to, follow the link below somewhere around this video that'll lead you to the GitHub repository where you can download that style and images. Time for you to create some links, and I'll see you in the next section.